The night had barely begun when Mena's name started trending across every social platform imaginable. Fans didn't know whether to scream, laugh, or call their best friend. One post from Erica, just one, had the internet on fire. It was a simple caption under an old black and white photo of her in Miami. It wasn't fake. It was love. And it was secret. Within minutes, comments flooded in, thousands of them. Everyone wanted to know who she was talking about. Who could possibly have been the hidden chapter in the life of one of reality TV's most unpredictable stars? For years, Erica had built a reputation as the woman who never held back. Whether it was her explosive fights on Love and Hip Hop or her tear-filled confessions on Live, she gave the public everything except this. This was new territory, and that's what made it dangerous. Sources close to the show whispered that this wasn't some brief fling or behind-the-scenes flirtation. No, this was a relationship, hidden for months, maybe years, protected by fear, loyalty, and the kind of chemistry that could destroy reputations overnight. She swore she'd never tell, said one insider. But something happened last week. Something pushed her over the edge. As fans dissected every clue, an old clip resurfaced from season 6, Erica sitting in a confessional, her eyes darting to the side before saying, "Some people think they know who I really loved. They don't." Now that line felt like a warning. The entertainment blogs moved fast. TMZ hinted that the man in question was a well-known figure within the hip-hop circle. Shade Room reposted an image of Erica's tattoo, claiming it matched the initials of someone she once worked closely with. And Twitter. It was chaos. "This gonna break the internet for real," one fan tweeted. By midnight, everyone from Rashida 2K Michelle had been tagged in speculation threads. Group chats lit up. Was this about sex? Was it before him? After him? Or someone completely unexpected? Someone off. One comment under Erica's post read, "You played the perfect role all along." Another said, "So that's why you vanished from the show for those months." And just when it seemed like nothing could get crazier, Erica went live. She looked calm, collected, but her tone was sharp enough to slice through every rumor. "Since y'all love to make stories out of nothing," she said, leaning closer to the camera, "let me give you the real one." Then came the sentence that froze the entire fanbase. "Yes, I was in a relationship, and it wasn't supposed to happen." Within seconds, the live ended. No names, no details, only that cryptic statement. And that was enough. Blogs, fans, and even former castmates began digging for answers, desperate to piece together the secret that Erica had guarded for so long. Who was she protecting? And what would happen when the truth finally came out? Because one thing was certain. Once this secret surfaced, nothing in her world or theirs would ever be the same again. Under the dim studio lights, the night felt heavier than usual. Producers whispered behind their clipboards, trying to keep things calm, but there was no calming Mena tonight. She stood near the makeup chair, phone in hand, scrolling through hundreds of comments that tagged her in every kind of rumor imaginable. Her lips trembled, not from fear, but from the weight of everything she had just set free. She looked at her reflection and whispered, "They wanted the truth. Right, now they got it." The silence that followed was broken only by the faint hum of her phone vibrating again and again, each notification pulling her deeper into the storm she had created. Outside the dressing room, security guards murmured among themselves, trying to keep the press from sneaking in. The hallway smelled like perfume and chaos. Rashida had already texted twice, asking, "Girl, what did you do?" While Michelle had posted a cryptic story with the caption, "When lies start sounding like truth, stay quiet and watch." The whole Love and Hip Hop circle was on fire, and Erica knew there was no turning back. She sat on the vanity table, staring at an old Polaroid tucked inside her wallet. It was the two of them, smiling, laughing. That one summer night when everything had felt simple. Before the cameras, before the secrets, before the deal that would change both their lives. She ran her finger across the image and whispered the name she hadn't said out loud in years. Rico. Rico had been a ghost in her story for too long. Not a celebrity, not a rapper, but someone from behind the scenes, someone who had once promised her a love that didn't need to be public. "We'll build in silence," he used to say, and for a while, she believed him. But silence had its price. And now, years later, it had come to collect. As the night deepened, Erica got a call from an unknown number. She hesitated before answering. "You shouldn't have said anything," the voice snapped. It was familiar, low, angry. "You promised me, You said we'd keep that part locked away." Her breath caught. "It's already out," she replied quietly. They were gonna find out anyway. The line went dead, but the message was clear. This wasn't over. By morning, The blogs had already pieced together fragments of their story. Mystery man from Erica Mena's past identified. Read one headline. Another screamed, secret producer affair threatens to expose industry scandal. Photos began circulating, grainy shots from years ago. A blurred figure standing next to her at a party. A matching bracelet they both once wore. Fans were divided. Some defended her, saying she deserved to tell her truth. Others accused her of fabricating it all for attention. But those who knew Erica knew one thing. She didn't break her silence unless something pushed her to the edge. Back at her Atlanta condo, Erica sat with her closest friend, Aisha, who had known her since her modeling days. "So it's really true?" Aisha asked, pouring coffee into a mug. "After all this time, you're finally admitting it." Erica nodded slowly. "I'm tired of pretending. I'm tired of everyone thinking they know who I loved, what I did, what I went through. They don't know the half of it." Aisha sighed. "You know he's not gonna like this. His people will come for you." Erica looked up with tired eyes. "They already have." Flashbacks flooded her mind. Nights spent in hotel rooms far from the cameras, where laughter turned into whispered arguments. Him telling her they needed to keep it private. Her begging for something real. "Just post one picture," she had said once. "Let them know we're real." He shook his head, kissing her forehead. "If they know, they'll destroy it." And she had believed that for too long, until the secrecy began to feel like a cage. Later that day, Erica decided to go live again. Fans piled in instantly. Comments racing across the screen like wildfire. She looked calm, but her voice carried that edge of heartbreak that couldn't be hidden. "I kept quiet because I was told love had to be silent to be real. But love that hides isn't love, it's fear. And I'm done being afraid." Someone commented, "Who's Rico?" Another said, "Is he the producer from season 5? Erica smiled faintly. "You'll find out soon enough," she said, ending the live. Meanwhile, Rico was across town in a sleek penthouse overlooking Midtown Atlanta. He tossed his phone on the couch after seeing the live clip. "She's really doing this," he muttered. His assistant, nervous and wide-eyed, asked, "Should I call the lawyer?" Rico lit a cigarette, pacing. "Nah, let her talk. She wants a show, she'll get one." But deep down, he was panicking. The relationship they had shared wasn't just a secret affair, it was tied to contracts, endorsements, and a leaked document that could destroy more than reputations. If Erica talked too much, the fallout wouldn't just hit him, it would ripple through half the industry. The next morning, a reporter from a gossip blog managed to get close to Erica outside her condo. "Erica, who's the man you're talking about? Is he from the show?" She ignored the questions, sliding into her car. But what the cameras didn't catch was her trembling hands gripping the steering wheel. That afternoon, she met her manager at a small studio cafe downtown. "You just blew up the internet," her manager said, shaking her head. "You realize the network's gonna call. They're either gonna offer you a tell-all special or pull you from everything." Erica took a deep breath. "If they pull me, I'll talk anyway. People deserve to hear my side before they twist it." Her manager sighed. "Just be careful. Once it's out, you can't put it back." That night, Erica returned home to find a small package at her door. Number, name, no return address. Inside was a single flash drive. She hesitated, then plugged it into her laptop. The screen flickered and a video began playing, a private clip of her and Rico in a hotel suite, laughing, holding hands, completely unaware they were being recorded. Her heart sank. Someone was blackmailing her. She grabbed her phone and called Aisha. "They recorded us," she whispered. "Someone has the footage." Aisha gasped. "Erica, you need to leave town. This isn't just gossip anymore." But Erica shook her head. "No, I'm not running this time." She sat down, staring at the frozen image of her past self smiling on the screen. They wanted silence. Now they're gonna hear everything. The city buzzed as new clips began leaking online, blurred videos, screenshots, old texts that hinted at betrayal and promises. Some said Rico had been married at the time. Others claimed Erica knew. None of it could be verified. But the internet didn't need proof. They only needed drama. And Erica Mena was serving it in full. By the end of the week, her name dominated every headline. Love and hip-hop scandal explodes. Secret relationship threatens careers. Rico speaks out tomorrow. Fans waited for his response, while Erica prepared for what came next. She knew the truth was a weapon, and once drawn, there was no putting it away. Her phone rang again. It was a private number. She hesitated, then answered. "You think this is a game?" The voice said coldly. "You don't know what you're starting." Erica clenched her jaw. "I started nothing. You did." The call ended, but she could feel it. The next chapter had already begun, and there was no way to stop it now. The following morning felt colder than usual, though the Atlanta sun was blazing through Erica's penthouse windows. The news cycle hadn't stopped once since her confession. Every entertainment site, gossip, blogger, and reaction channel had dissected her every word. She sat on the edge of her bed, scrolling through headlines that screamed Erica Mena exposes secret lover. New footage leaked from hotel room, and producer Rico in crisis mode. Her reflection in the dark screen looked tired, older somehow, like the truth had taken years off her. She whispered under her breath, "So this is what honesty costs." Across the city, Rico was sitting in his blacked-out SUV, staring at his phone in silence. His assistant, nervous, kept glancing at him through the rearview mirror. "You gonna respond?" the assistant asked softly. Rico's jaw tightened. "Not yet," he said. "Let her talk. I want to see how far she'll go." But even as he said it, his pulse raced. Deep down, he knew Erica wasn't bluffing. She had proof messages, videos, receipts, and, if she released everything, it would burn his reputation to ash. By noon, Erica's manager was at her door again. "The network's calling a meeting," she said, pacing the living room. "They want to know if you plan to keep posting or if they should suspend your appearances." Erica crossed her arms. "They don't control me anymore. I'm not under contract." Her manager frowned. "They still have rights to old footage. They can twist it however they want." Erica smirked. "Let them. I've been edited my whole life. It's time people see what really happened." Just then, her phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. "You think you're safe? Wait until tonight." She froze for a second, staring at the words. Her heartbeat quickened, but she forced herself to look calm. "I'm fine," she told her manager, sliding the phone face down on the table. But in her mind, panic stirred. Whoever was sending those messages knew too much. Hours later, Erica met with Aisha at a quiet rooftop bar. "You're playing with fire," Aisha warned. "These people aren't just mad, they're powerful. You think Rico's just gonna sit back?" Erica sipped her drink, eyes focused on the skyline. "I don't care anymore. I've kept their secrets long enough. They can either face the truth or try to bury me." Aisha shook her head. "Girl, they've buried people for less." Erica smiled faintly. "Then I'll rise twice as loud." That same evening, Rico made his move. He appeared on a live interview with a major hip-hop podcast, denying everything. "Me and Erica were never together like that," he said coolly. "She's spinning this for attention. I helped her career. That's all." Within minutes, clips from the interview spread like wildfire. Hashtags like #RicoSpeaks and #EricaLies started trending. Fans split down the middle, half defending him, half calling him a coward. When Erica saw the clip, she didn't flinch. Instead, she grabbed her phone and opened her files. She clicked on a folder labeled Rico Truth and uploaded 3 screenshots to her Instagram story. A photo of them holding hands. A message that read, "You were the best thing I ever had to hide." And a selfie taken in the same sweet scene in the leaked footage. Within seconds, her notifications exploded again. Back in the studio where the podcast had been filmed, Rico's phone buzzed nonstop. He looked at the screen, his expression turning grim. "She really posted it," the host whispered. Rico exhaled sharply, rubbing his temples. "She just made it war." By midnight, Erica's apartment was surrounded by paparazzi. Camera flashes lit up her windows. She ignored them, pacing her living room while on the phone with her brother, who lived in New Jersey. "You good?" he asked. "You sound shaken." Erica tried to steady her voice. "I'm fine. I just didn't expect it to go this far." He paused before saying, "You always said one day you'd tell your truth. Guess that day came." She smiled weakly. "Yeah, it just came louder than I planned." 2 days later, another twist hit. A blogger known for exposing celebrity scandals dropped a video claiming to have voice notes between Erica and Rico. The clip started with her laughing, then saying softly, "I know what we're risking, but I don't care." The internet exploded again. Fans accused her of lying before. Others said it confirmed everything. The comment sections turned into battlegrounds. One tweet read, "She's finally being punished for playing with everyone's emotions." Another countered, "She's brave for standing up to powerful men." Behind closed doors, Erica was breaking. She hadn't slept properly in days. Her mother called that evening, worried. "Mia, this isn't healthy," her mother said gently. "Walk away before it destroys you." Erica's eyes filled with tears. "I can't, Mama. It's already too deep. If I stop now, they win." Her mother sighed. "Sometimes peace is louder than revenge." But Erica shook her head. "Not when they tried to silence me for years." That night, she sat in her bedroom surrounded by half-packed bags, unsure if she should leave the city. She opened her laptop, scrolling through old messages between her and Rico. Each one carried memories of passion, betrayal, and fear. One message read, "They can't find out, not after what happened in Miami." She frowned. Miami. The trip that changed everything. Back then, Miami had felt like an escape. Away from cameras, away from judgment. She and Rico had rented a villa by the beach, pretending to be strangers in public and lovers behind closed doors. They spent nights talking about dreams, money, and escape plans. One evening, a loud argument erupted after she caught him on the phone with someone named Tasha. "Who's that?" she demanded. "No one," he said quickly. "Business." But she knew better. "Don't play me, Rico. I've been played before." He looked at her, anger flashing in his eyes. "You knew what this was." Those words haunted her long after the trip ended. You knew what this was. He had reduced her love to a transaction, a moment of convenience. And yet, part of her still believed he cared. As the Miami memories replayed in her mind, her phone buzzed again. Another message from that same unknown number. "You don't want me to release the second clip." Erica froze. "Second clip," she whispered. Her hands trembled. She dialed Aisha immediately. "Someone's threatening to drop another video," she said. Aisha cursed under her breath. "Erica, listen to me. Go public before they do. Get ahead of it." Erica nodded slowly. "You're right. If they want war, I'll give them one." She went live again, her eyes puffy but determined. "Since everyone wants to play games with my life," she began, "let's tell the whole story. No cuts, no edits, no lies." Thousands joined within seconds. She started recounting everything: how she met Rico, how he promised her love and protection, how that love turned into secrecy and fear. She didn't hold back. Her voice cracked several times, but she kept going. "They think I'm scared. I'm not. I've already lost everything once. I got nothing left to lose." As she ended the live, the comment sections went wild. People were crying, cheering, cursing. Within an hour, #IST, and with Erica trended nationwide. But while fans celebrated her bravery, another storm brewed quietly. Across town, Rico sat in a dark office with two men in suits. One of them slid a document across the table. "She breached a confidentiality agreement," the man said. "We can sue for damages and defamation." Rico nodded slowly. "Do it," he said. "And make sure she never speaks again." The next morning, Erica woke up to find a letter slipped under her door. It was from a law firm representing Rico's company. The words made her blood run cold. "You are hereby ordered to cease all public discussion and remove all content related to Mr. Ricardo, Rico King, or face immediate legal action." She crumpled the letter in her fist. "So this is how they fight," she muttered. She looked at her phone, then at the camera on her dresser. "Fine, let's fight." The war between love and silence had officially begun, and Erica Mena wasn't backing down. That night, Atlanta's skyline glowed with the kind of beauty that only hides trouble. Erica stood on her balcony, the city lights flickering below like the pulse of a living thing. Her phone wouldn't stop buzzing: calls from lawyers, texts from journalists, messages from strangers who claimed to know the truth. She stared at the letter on the table one more time, the legal threat staring back like a ghost she couldn't banish. She took a deep breath and said quietly, "If they want to silence me, they'll have to do more than paper and ink." Her best friend Aisha arrived with a box of takeout and that look that said she hadn't slept either. "Girl, you look like you've been through war," she said, setting the box down. Erica laughed bitterly. "That's because I have." She handed Aisha the letter. Aisha skimmed through it, shaking her head. "Rico really playing dirty now. You think he's scared?" Erica leaned back on the couch. "Scared men do stupid things. And he's about to do something very stupid." While they ate, the TV in the background played reruns of Love and Hip Hop. The scene showed a younger Erica, fierce and loud, arguing over love that wasn't worth it. Aisha looked up and said, "It's crazy how much you've changed." Erica smiled faintly. "No, it's crazy how much I pretended." A few hours later, a message notification popped up on her phone. It was from a private Instagram account. It read, "Check your email. I have something you need to see." Erica opened her inbox and saw an attachment titled, Contract_2017, PDF. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Inside was a signed agreement, Rico's signature right beside hers, detailing their secret project. The creative partnership that had served as the perfect cover for their hidden relationship, and at the bottom was a note in small text, "Non-disclosure agreement, personal and professional conduct." She gasped. "He signed this," she said aloud. Aisha leaned over. "That means he can't sue you, right?" Erica nodded slowly. It means if he sues me, he'll have to admit the relationship was real. He'll expose himself. She smiled for the first time in days. He just lost his weapon. Meanwhile, Rico was meeting with his legal team downtown. His lawyer, a tall man in a navy suit, placed a file on the desk. If she goes public with anything tied to the contract, it's over, the lawyer said. That agreement proves you were personally involved. Rico cursed under his breath, slamming his hand on the table. I told her to destroy that damn file. His assistant spoke softly. She never destroys anything. She keeps receipts. Rico's face darkened. Then we'll find another way. That evening, fans noticed something strange. Erica's Instagram suddenly went dark. All posts gone. Her name vanished from Twitter for an hour before reappearing with a simple story that read, "They think deleting me will save them. It won't." Comments flooded in. What's going on? Is she okay? This is bigger than love and hip-hop now. Behind the scenes, her manager was in damage control mode, calling media contacts, trying to trace what had happened. Someone hacked her account, she muttered. But Erica wasn't surprised. She knew who was behind it. They're trying to erase me, she told Aisha. They did the same to another girl years ago. She disappeared after crossing them. Aisha's face went pale. Erica, you need protection. The next day, Erica met with a journalist named Lauren from a major network. Lauren had been chasing this story since it broke. They met in a quiet diner, tucked away from cameras. Off the record, Lauren asked. Erica nodded. For now. Lauren pulled out her recorder anyway. What made you finally speak up? Erica looked out the window, lost in thought. Because silence was killing me. I've watched powerful men build empires off women's pain. I won't be one of them. Lauren leaned in. And Rico? Erica hesitated, then said softly, he was the love that wasn't supposed to exist, but it did. And now everyone's paying for it. By that evening, the interview teaser hit the internet. A 10-second clip of Erica saying, "They can try to destroy my name, but they can't erase the truth." The clip went viral in minutes. Bloggers called it the confession that could end careers. Even major TV hosts began discussing it. Hashtags like #Erica tells all and #Rico exposed trended for hours. In a desperate move, Rico went live from his own account, his tone calm but his eyes hard. Let's get one thing straight, he said. Erica Mena was never my girlfriend. This entire narrative is a fantasy she's created. Then, as if on cue, a new message appeared on Erica's feed, an old video, posted from an unknown account. The footage showed Rico and Erica together at a private event, whispering, holding hands, sharing a kiss. The crowd online erupted. One fan wrote, he said it was fake, but the camera don't lie. The backlash was instant. Sponsors began distancing themselves from Rico's company. Rumors spread that the network was considering pulling him from a major production deal. Calls came in. Rico, this is out of control, his lawyer said. If you don't contain this, you're finished. Rico slammed his phone down. She wants war. Fine, she'll get it. Meanwhile, Erica's phone rang again, this time. A call she didn't expect. It was from him. You think you won? He said coldly. You just made enemies you can't handle. She took a deep breath. I've had enemies all my life. What's a few more? He laughed bitterly. You don't get it. This isn't TV. This is real life. Exactly, she said, hanging up. The next day, police arrived at her condo with a notice her property had been vandalized overnight. The walls were tagged with graffiti that read, "Stay silent." She stood in the doorway, heart pounding, realizing that this had gone far beyond gossip. This was intimidation. She called Aisha, her voice shaking. They came here, she whispered. They're trying to scare me. Aisha rushed over, holding her tight. They won't win. You started this truth, now finish it. So Erica packed a small bag, grabbed her phone, and drove to a safe house outside the city. There, she began recording a video message. Her face was raw, makeup smeared, eyes burning with exhaustion. This isn't about fame anymore, she said softly into the camera. This is about power, about how love can be turned into control. But I'm not controlled anymore. I'm free. She paused, staring directly at the lens. If anything happens to me, you'll know who's behind it. She uploaded the video to multiple accounts at once, ensuring it couldn't be deleted. Within an hour, it reached millions. The internet froze. People started tagging authorities, calling for investigations. Even celebrities began speaking out. That night, as she sat alone in the dimly lit room, her phone buzzed one last time. It was a text from a private number. We need to talk, before it's too late. She hesitated, knowing it was Rico. Outside, a car pulled up slowly. Her pulse raced. She looked out the window and saw his black SUV parked across the street. The lights were off. The engine idle. She whispered to herself, so this is how it ends. Or how it begins. And with that, she stepped outside into the dark, determined to face whatever waited for her next. The night air was thick with tension as Erica stepped into the dimly lit parking lot. The black SUV idled silently, headlights off, tinted windows reflecting nothing but the faint glow of nearby streetlights. She walked slowly toward it, her phone recording in her hand, just in case. Her heels clicked against the concrete, each step echoing like a countdown. When the passenger window finally rolled down, Rico's face appeared calm, unreadable, a man who had lost control of his story but was still clinging to his pride. "Get in," he said quietly. His tone wasn't angry. It was cold, measured, dangerous. Erica hesitated, her eyes narrowing. "Why should I?" He leaned closer. "Because you don't know everything. And if you want to live long enough to tell your truth, you better listen to mine." She felt her stomach tighten, fear and defiance clashing inside her. Finally, she opened the door and slid in, keeping her phone camera facing down but still on. Inside the car, the air smelled like smoke and tension. He didn't look at her at first. He just stared straight ahead, fingers drumming against the steering wheel. Finally, he spoke. "You think you know what happened, but you don't. You think I kept you a secret because I was ashamed. It wasn't like that." Erica folded her arms. "Then what was it, Rico? You used me. You promised forever and gave me silence." He shook his head. "I promised safety. There's a difference." She laughed bitterly. "Safety? You call hiding me from the world safety?" His jaw tightened. "You don't understand what was happening back then. Miami wasn't just a getaway. People were watching us. My deal with Maven Records, those investors weren't clean. If they found out about you, they would have used you to get to me." She blinked, processing his words. "Used me? Like what, blackmail?" He nodded slowly. "They already tried once. You remember that call from a blocked number that night? That wasn't some random troll. That was them." For a moment, she didn't speak. Her anger began to twist into confusion. "So you're saying all of this was some kind of cover-up?" He turned toward her finally, his eyes dark and heavy. "I'm saying it was bigger than us. And when you went live, you reopened everything. You think these people care about love? They care about leverage." She felt a lump in her throat. "Then why didn't you tell me?" He sighed, rubbing his face. "Because I thought I could fix it before it touched you." He paused, lowering his voice. "But now they're back, and they won't stop with threats." She stared at him, unsure whether to believe him. "You expect me to feel sorry for you," she said quietly. "After everything." He shook his head. "I don't want your sympathy. I want you safe." For a long moment, they sat in silence, the hum of the engine filling the air. Then she said, "You're lying. You're trying to scare me into shutting up?" He looked at her and smiled faintly. "If I wanted you silenced, you'd already be gone." Her pulse quickened. "What's that supposed to mean?" He didn't answer. Instead, he handed her a small flash drive. "Proof," he said. "Everything you need to understand what really happened. The money, the threats, the people behind it." She stared at it, hesitant. "Why give this to me?" He looked away. "Because you're the only one who can make them listen. You still have the public on your side. Use it." Before she could respond, he opened the car door. "Go," he said softly, "before someone sees us together again." Erica stepped out, clutching the flash drive, her heart racing. She turned back to ask another question, but the SUV was already gone, disappearing into the night like a shadow. Back in her condo, she stared at the flash drive on her table, debating whether to open it. Aisha called again, frantic. "You vanished for 2 hours. Where were you?" Erica's voice trembled slightly. "With him." He said, "There's more to this story." Aisha's tone hardened. "Erica, don't let him pull you back in. That's what he wants." Erica whispered, "Then why does this feel real?" After hanging up, she finally plugged the flash drive into her laptop. A folder popped up labeled Proof_2018. Inside were documents, contracts, bank statements, and a series of voice memos titled by date. She clicked on the first one. Rico's voice filled the room. "If they find out she's with me, she's finished. They already warned me about Atlanta. Keep her name off everything." Her eyes widened. The second memo played next. "She thinks this is just about love, but this is survival. They're watching. They recorded Miami. If she talks, she's in danger too." She sat frozen, tears welling up in her eyes. It wasn't just gossip anymore. She was in the middle of something darker. The following morning, Erica met Lauren again, this time ready to go on record. "I have evidence," she said, sliding her laptop across the table. Lauren listened to the recordings, her face shifting from disbelief to shock. "This isn't just a scandal," she said softly. "This is a crime story." Erika nodded. "Then tell it like one." By the end of the day, the network had approved a primetime segment. Erika Mena Speaks. The truth behind the secret relationship. The teaser trailer aired that night, clips of her emotional interview intercut with shadowy images of documents, whispered recordings, and flashes of Rico's name. Social media exploded again, but this time, the tone was different. It wasn't just gossip anymore. It was fear. Meanwhile, Rico sat in a meeting with two investors who looked visibly angry. "You promised this was handled," one of them snapped. "Now it's national news." Rico kept his composure. "I'll take care of it," he said. The older investor leaned forward. "You better, because if this gets traced back to us, you'll wish it was just a lawsuit." That night, Erika's car alarm went off outside her condo. When she looked out the window, she saw nothing but darkness, except for a single white rose placed on the windshield. No note, no message, just a warning dressed as a gift. She backed away from the window, her hands shaking. Aisha, who had been staying with her for safety, rushed over. "What's wrong?" Erika whispered. "They know where I live." Aisha grabbed her phone. "We're calling the cops." But Erika shook her head. "No, if I call the cops, this becomes public. They'll spin it." Aisha stared at her. "So what's your plan?" Erika took a deep breath. "I'm going to finish what I started." The next day, she arrived at the network studio for her live interview. Makeup artists buzzed around, producers whispered into headsets, and cameras blinked under the bright lights. As the countdown began, Erika's heartbeat thudded in her chest. The host smiled at her and said, "You ready?" She nodded, her expression calm, determined. When the red light blinked on, she spoke directly into the camera. "This isn't about who I dated. It's about power. It's about how people in this industry think they can own your silence. But I'm done being owned." Her voice shook slightly, but her eyes didn't waver. "I loved someone who wasn't free to love me back. And when I tried to walk away, they tried to erase me. But the truth doesn't vanish." The studio went silent. Even the crew stopped moving. Outside, fans watched live from their phones, holding their breath as she exposed everything: names, places, contracts, threats. She didn't flinch once. By the time the broadcast ended, her words had reached millions. But as she left the studio, her phone buzzed with a final message. "You shouldn't have done that." No name, no number, just those 5 words glowing on the screen. She stared at them, her heart pounding. The war wasn't over. It was just changing shape. Rain began to fall over Atlanta that night, soft at first, then relentless, washing the streets in streaks of light. Erika drove in silence, her phone face down on the passenger seat, the screen still lit with that last message. She kept glancing at the rearview mirror, half expecting headlights that stayed too close, a shape that didn't belong. When she finally parked outside her condo, she sat there for several minutes, breathing slow, forcing her hands to stop shaking. The world had seen her truth now. But the truth hadn't saved her yet, it had only made her visible to the people who wanted her quiet. Inside, the apartment smelled like rain and cold coffee. Aisha had fallen asleep on the couch, laptop open, news still running. Every network replayed her interview on a loop. Erika Mena Speaks Out, Industry Secrets Exposed. One anchor said, "Some are calling her a hero, others say she's reckless. Whatever side you're on, this story isn't over." Erika muted the TV and whispered, "You have no idea." Her laptop chimed a new email. The subject line read "Final Offer." She hesitated before opening it. Inside was a short message with no signature. "Walk away, erase the files, and you'll receive a settlement. Speak again, and we release everything." Attached was a folder labeled Miami_footage_full. Her breath caught. She hovered over it, knowing what it likely contained. For a long minute she stared, then closed the laptop. "Not tonight," she said to herself. Aisha stirred awake. "You still up?" Erika nodded. "They're trying to buy my silence." Aisha rubbed her eyes, and Erika looked out at the rain. "And they think I have a price." By morning, her story had spread beyond gossip blogs. National outlets picked it up, framing it as a story about exploitation and abuse of power in the entertainment industry. Fans sent thousands of messages of support. Even people who once criticized her now defended her bravery. But praise came with danger. Her manager called early, panic in her voice. "Erika, I just got word there's a warrant out for Rico's arrest, fraud, wire transfers, shell companies. Your interview triggered a federal review." Erika blinked, stunned. "So it's real." Everything he said about the money. Her manager exhaled. "More real than you knew." As the day unfolded, cameras swarmed outside Rico's studio. Reporters shouted questions while agents escorted boxes of evidence into vans. Someone caught a brief shot of Rico in handcuffs, head down, silent. The internet exploded again. Memes, theories, prayers, curses. It was chaos. Yet amid the noise, Erica felt something she hadn't felt in weeks. Relief. Still, the threats didn't stop. That evening, another message appeared on her phone. Rico isn't the only one who owed them. Watch your back. No name. She showed it to Aisha. You think this is real? Aisha asked. Everything's real now, Erica said quietly. Later that night, she sat at her desk, pulling out old journals she'd kept during her years on love and hip-hop. Between the pages were photos, ticket stubs, and notes from nights she thought she'd forgotten. One line, scrawled in her own handwriting, caught her eye. Someday the story will belong to me. She smiled faintly. Guess today's the day. Around midnight, her phone rang again, a known number. She almost ignored it, but something told her to answer. Hello. A pause. Then a man's voice. Miss Mena, this is Detective Clark with the Bureau. We need to speak with you about Mr. King's files. There are recordings that suggest someone was following you for months. We think you're in danger. She froze. Following me, he continued. We're sending a unit to your location. Don't leave your apartment. Minutes later, blue lights flashed outside. 2 agents arrived. But alert. They took her statement, asked about the flash drive, the emails, the threats. When they left, one of them said, "Don't underestimate how far people will go when their money's on the line." The following morning, headlines read, Federal probe expands following Mena confession. Rico King's empire collapses amid scandal. Reporters camped outside her building again, but this time their questions were softer. How are you holding up? Do you feel vindicated? She didn't answer any of them. She just smiled faintly, walking through the noise like someone who had already survived the worst of it. Inside, Aisha hugged her tight. You did it, she whispered. You really did it. Erica laughed softly. Did what? Lost everything on live TV. Aisha shook her head. No, you got your voice back. For a few days, things calmed. Sponsors reached out privately. Producers floated documentary offers. Her lawyer handled statements and contracts. But quiet never lasted long in her world. One afternoon, while reviewing scripts at the kitchen counter, a knock echoed through the apartment. When she opened the door, there was no one, just an unmarked envelope on the floor. She picked it up slowly, heart thudding. Inside was a single photograph, her and Rico, from years ago, sitting at a restaurant in New York. Behind them, in the corner of the frame, a man in a dark suit stared directly into the camera. On the back of the photo, someone had written, "We're still watching." She dropped the photo on the counter, her hands trembling. Aisha came running. What is it? Erica pointed at the picture. They're not done. That night, she recorded another video, this time not for the media, not for fans, just for herself. Sitting on the floor of her living room, she spoke softly into the camera. They said, love would protect me. It didn't. They said silence would save me. It didn't. But truth changed everything. She paused, tears slipping down her cheeks. If you're watching this and you've ever been told to shut up, don't. They win when you disappear. She saved the file, encrypting it before uploading it to cloud storage. Outside, thunder rolled. The power flickered once, twice, then returned. Aisha looked up from the couch. You think this ever ends? Erica whispered. Maybe not, but at least now. I'm not hiding. The next morning, she woke to a flood of messages. Celebrities, activists, journalists all praising her courage. One message stood out, from an unknown number. They're gone. It's over. You can breathe now. She didn't reply. She just closed her eyes, letting the morning light spill across her face. For the first time in years, she felt something close to peace. Not safety, not freedom, but peace, the kind that comes when you've finally told the world who you are, no matter the cost. 2 weeks passed before the city began to feel normal again, though nothing about Erica's life could ever return to what it was. The investigation into Rico's empire unfolded like a slow burn every day. Another name, another headline, another secret dragged into the light. The industry tried to distance itself from the wreckage, but too many people were tied to the same circle. Some pretended they never knew him, others quietly deleted old photos, while a few reached out privately to Erica, offering apologies wrapped in guilt. She accepted none of them. Her phone still buzzed constantly, but the tone of the messages had changed. Fans who once trolled her now called her a survivor. Reporters who once mocked her tone now called her brave. But Erica felt hollow. Truth had freed her, yes, but it had also taken away the one thing she once craved control. She couldn't walk into a grocery store without people whispering. Couldn't open social media without seeing her own face under headlines she didn't write. Aisha stayed with her most nights, worried she'd spiral again. "You've been through hell," she said one morning as she brewed coffee. "Maybe you need to step away from all this. Go somewhere quiet. Start over." Erica smiled faintly, stirring her cup. "I've been starting over my whole life." She looked out the window, watching the rain streak down the glass. "I just never thought peace would feel this lonely." That afternoon, she received a call from Lauren, the journalist who had helped her go public. "The Bureau confirmed what we suspected," Lauren said. "The men behind the threats were part of Rico's investor group. Offshore accounts, intimidation, surveillance. They used you as leverage." Erica's hand tightened around the phone. "So it was all real," she said softly. Lauren paused. "Real enough that they're facing charges. But you should know some of them are still missing." That night, Erica couldn't sleep. She kept replaying the last time she saw Rico in that car. His calm expression, the warning in his voice. They won't stop with threats. Maybe he wasn't protecting himself, maybe. In some twisted way, he had been protecting her. She shook her head, trying to push the thought away. He'd lied too many times for her to start believing him now. Around midnight, she walked onto her balcony, phone in hand, scrolling through old photos she hadn't deleted yet. One of her and Rico at the beach. Her smile looked real. His arms wrapped around her waist, both of them pretending the world couldn't touch them. She whispered, "You could have told me the truth," and deleted the photo. The next morning, she got an unexpected call from an unfamiliar voice. "Miss Mena, this is Alina Torres. I'm producing a documentary on women in the industry who broke their silence. We want you to be the opening story." Erica hesitated. "I'm not sure I can do that again." Alina replied gently, "You already did. The difference is this time, you'll be the one telling it." Erica smiled faintly. "Send me the details." By the time the crew arrived to film, her apartment looked different, cleaner, lighter. She had replaced the curtains, added plants, even hung a few paintings she bought from local artists. Small symbols of a life slowly rebuilding itself. The cameras rolled, and for the first time in months, she didn't feel defensive. She spoke about her childhood, her rise, her mistakes, her silence, and the cost of it all. When they asked about Rico, she didn't cry. She just said, "He taught me that love without truth isn't love, it's captivity." After filming ended, she walked the crew to the door, thanking them. As the last person left, she turned back toward the room, feeling something not the loud, public kind that came from fame, but the quiet kind that comes when you survive something that was meant to break you. Days later, the trailer for the documentary dropped online. Her voice narrated over slow, cinematic clips. "They said I'd regret telling my story. They were right, but I'd regret silence even more." The trailer went viral again, but this time the reaction was different. Instead of gossip, there was respect. Instead of outrage, there was empathy. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, the federal case against Rico's associates grew. One by one, arrests were made. Names that once dominated charts now filled court documents. Rico himself had gone silent since his bail hearing. His social media wiped clean. Rumors spread that he had left the country. Others claimed he was cooperating with investigators. Erica stopped caring, which was true. Some ghosts didn't deserve to be chased. Still, one afternoon, while walking through Midtown, she saw a familiar car parked across the street, a black SUV. Same model, same tint. Her breath caught for a moment, but when the driver stepped out, it was a stranger. She laughed softly to herself, shaking her head. "You're a paranoid girl," she muttered, yet the uneasy feeling lingered. That evening, she sat by the window, watching the sunset. Her phone buzzed again, this time with a message from an unknown number. "Thank you for telling the truth." He wasn't the only one. No signature. She stared at it, trying to decide whether it was comfort or warning. After a moment, she typed back, "Who is this?" But there was no reply. A week later, the documentary premiered. The red carpet glowed under flashing cameras, but Erica walked it differently this time, head high, calm, grounded. She wore a simple white gown, her hair pulled back, her smile steady. Reporters shouted questions, flashes went off, but she didn't flinch. One journalist asked, "Erica, do you think your story changed the industry?" She paused, then said, "No, but it changed me, and that's enough for now." Inside the theater, as the lights dimmed and the first scenes played, she felt tears welling up, not from pain this time, but from release. Her life, her chaos, her love, it all played out on the screen like a story she no longer had to hide. After the screening, applause filled the room. Strangers came up to her, some crying, some thanking her for her courage. Even a few former castmates from Love and Hip Hop hugged her tightly. One whispered, "You did what we were all too scared to do." Erika smiled, her voice barely above a whisper. "I just got tired of being scared." Later that night, when she returned home, her phone buzzed once more. One new message. No name. "We're proud of you." For the first time, she didn't feel fear reading a message from an unknown number. She just smiled, whispered thank you, and turned off the light. The city outside hummed softly, the same way it did before everything changed. But for Erika, it was a new world. Not perfect, not peaceful, but hers on for the first time in years. That was enough. Morning sunlight spilled across the floor, soft and golden. And for the first time in months, Erika woke up without reaching for her phone. She let the quiet fill the space, the hum of the fridge, the faint rhythm of traffic below, the ordinary sounds of a life she was learning to love again. When she finally looked at her screen, she found hundreds of new messages, producers, talk shows, fan letters, but one caught her eye. It was from a name she hadn't seen in years, Safari. The message was short. "I saw the doc. Proud of you. Nobody could have done that but you." She stared at it for a long while before typing back, "Thank you. I finally feel free." He replied once more, "You always were. You just didn't believe it." She smiled faintly, then put the phone away. She didn't need closure from anyone anymore. Over the next few days, life took on a strange rhythm. She began working out again, cooking her own meals, visiting her son more often, even reconnecting with old friends who had kept their distance during the chaos. The paparazzi still followed her sometimes, but she didn't flinch now. She walked slower, calmer, like someone who had survived a storm and learned to live in the aftermath. Still, not every night was peaceful. Sometimes, when the city went quiet, she would wake from dreams that blurred memory and fear. In one, Rico was standing in her old dressing room, whispering, "They'll never let you go." She'd wake up sweating, heart racing, but then remind herself, he was gone. He couldn't touch her anymore. One afternoon, while sorting through boxes in her closet, she found an old phone, cracked and dusty. It was the one she used during those secret years. She plugged it in, out of curiosity, and after a few minutes, it lit up with hundreds of old messages she had never deleted. "You're my peace. I'll fix this. Trust me." She scrolled through them slowly, one by one, until she reached the last message he ever sent her before everything fell apart. It read, "If we survive this, meet me in Miami again." She stared at it for a long time, then whispered, "We didn't survive it, but I did." She powered the phone off and placed it in a drawer. That same evening, she received a call from her lawyer. "Rico's sentencing is confirmed," he said. 12 years, no parole. The court referenced your testimony as key evidence." She closed her eyes. "It's over then." He paused. "For him, yes. For you, maybe it's a new start." The sentencing made headlines again, but this time Erika stayed offline. She didn't watch interviews or read comments. She spent the day with her son, walking through the park, laughing at things that had nothing to do with fame or pain. When a fan approached shyly and said, "You're so strong," she smiled and replied, "Not strong. Just done pretending I'm not human." That night, she cooked dinner for a small group of friends, Rashida, Yandi, and Aisha. Laughter filled the apartment, light and genuine. Rashida raised her glass. "2 new chapters," she said. Yandi nodded. "And to Erika, for teaching all of us that silence ain't peace." Erika grinned, clinking her glass against theirs. "To truth, even when it hurts." As the night went on, they reminisced about old show days, wild moments, love triangles, and the chaos that once ruled their lives. For a moment, it felt like the past had softened, turning into something they could all look back on without pain. Later, after everyone left, Erika stepped onto her balcony. The air was cool, the city buzzing quietly below. She leaned against the railing, staring at the skyline that had once been her battlefield. Her phone buzzed again, another unknown number. She hesitated, then opened it. The message said, "Truth changes everything. Keep going." No threats this time. No warnings. Just words that felt peaceful. She smiled faintly, whispering, "I will." Over the next months, Erika poured her energy into advocacy. She partnered with organizations supporting women in entertainment who had faced exploitation. She began speaking at panels, universities, even small community events. Every time she stood before a crowd, she said some version of the same line. "They told me I was too loud, too emotional, too much. But it turns out, I was exactly enough to tell the truth." Her story became a symbol. People started saying, pulling in Erika to describe standing up to the system. At first it made her laugh, then it made her proud. She had become more than a headline, she had become a movement. One evening, while packing for a speaking tour, she found that same flash drive Rico had once given her. She turned it in her hand, wondering if she should destroy it or keep it. After a moment, she plugged it in one last time. Inside was a folder she hadn't opened before, labeled for E. Her heart pounded as she clicked. It was a video. Rico's voice filled the room. "If you're watching this, I guess I didn't make it out clean. I know I hurt you. I lied, I hid you, I failed you, but I loved you. And maybe, in some strange way, all this was the only way to set you free. Don't let them make you small. Don't let them win." She sat in silence long after the video ended. Then she closed the laptop, whispering, "You finally told the truth." She deleted the file, pulled the flash drive out, and tossed it into the trash. That night, Erica went live again, not for gossip, not for drama, but for gratitude. "I started this fight because I thought I needed to win something," she said, smiling softly into the camera. "Turns out, I just needed to survive it. And I did." The comments filled with hearts and messages from fans around the world, but she didn't need their validation anymore. When she ended the stream, she looked around her quiet apartment. No chaos, no secrets, no fear, just peace. She whispered to herself, "Finally." And as the city lights blinked outside her window, Erica Mena went the headline. The scandal, the chaos sat still for the first time in years. A woman who had walked through fire and learned not just to survive, but to live. Weeks passed, and the noise finally faded into memory. The news cycle moved on to newer scandals, fresher faces, louder chaos. Yet, Erica's name lingered in the air, not as gossip but as something heavier, something respected. When people said her name now, it wasn't followed by laughter or shade. It was followed by quiet. The documentary won an award that season. For bravery in storytelling, the presenter said, holding the golden trophy high. When they called her name, Erica stood, smoothing her gown, eyes glistening. The applause felt endless. She walked to the stage, her steps steady, each one a small victory over the years that tried to break her. She held the mic and smiled faintly. "I didn't tell my story for awards," she said, her voice calm but sharp. "I told it because silence nearly killed me. If my truth helps even one woman speak hers, that's all that matters." The room erupted again, cameras flashing, faces turned toward her with awe. After the show, as the crowd mingled under chandeliers and champagne light, Rashida hugged her tightly. "You did that, girl," she said. "You made history tonight." Erica laughed softly. "No, I just survived loud enough for them to notice." The weeks that followed were filled with calls, interviews, invitations. Networks wanted her opinion, brands wanted her image, but she took her time with everything now. She had learned that not all attention was love, and not all silence was peace. She spent mornings in her garden, barefoot in the soil, watering the small plants that had become her ritual. She told Aisha once, "These plants grow quiet. No spotlight, no noise, just light and patience. I want to live like that." Her son came to stay for spring break. Together they cooked, laughed, watched movies, and for the first time, he saw his mother relaxed. "You're not mad anymore," he said one night, eating popcorn. She looked at him, smiling. "I was never mad, baby. I was just tired." The next day, as they walked downtown, a little girl stopped her on the street. "Are you the lady from TV?" she asked shyly. Erica knelt down and smiled. "Sometimes," she said, "but I'm also a mom, and I'm also me." The girl nodded, handing her a crumpled note. "My mom said you're brave." Erica's heart warmed. "Tell her she is too." Time began to smooth the edges of everything. Rico's trial faded from headlines. Some of his partners went to prison. Others vanished overseas. The files she once guarded like a weapon now sat locked in a safe she rarely touched. Every once in a while, she would look at the folder label past and smile. One evening, Lauren visited again to film an update for a new special. As the cameras rolled, Erica sat in her living room, surrounded by warm light. "So what's next for you?" Lauren asked. Erica thought for a moment. "Healing," she said. "Maybe love again, but the real kind this time. The kind that doesn't hide." Later that night, she took a walk alone. Atlanta was buzzing softly, the city alive but distant. The same streets that once felt like traps now felt open. She stopped at a small cafe near Midtown, ordered tea, and sat by the window. A soft jazz song played, and for a moment, everything stilled: the laughter from other tables, the clinking of cups, the hum of life moving forward. She realized that she no longer feared the quiet. It was hers now. Her phone buzzed again, but not with threats or headlines. It was an email from the network. "We're renewing your deal this time. executive producer credit included. She read it twice before smiling. About time, she whispered. As months turned to a year, the next phase of her life began. She launched a foundation under her name, offering mentorship and legal aid for women in entertainment. Her story became part of lectures, case studies, and even college essays. But to her, it was simpler. She told Aisha once, "I just wanted to prove to myself that truth doesn't ruin you, it rebuilds you." One afternoon, as she prepared for a speech at a university, she caught her reflection in the mirror. She didn't see the girl from reality TV, or the woman from the headlines. She saw someone older, steadier, free. She adjusted her earrings, smiled at her reflection, and said softly, "You made it." When she walked on stage that evening, the students rose to their feet, clapping before she even spoke. She waited for the noise to settle, then said, "They'll tell you your story is too messy to matter. They'll say your pain is too loud, your emotions too much. They'll be wrong. Your voice is the thing that saves you." The crowd fell silent. And in that silence, Erica felt the final piece click into place, the understanding that she had done what she was meant to do. Not just survive scandal, not just clear her name, but use her pain to make something larger, something that might outlive her. When the night ended, she walked backstage, closed her eyes for a moment, and took a long, deep breath. No cameras, no chaos, no fear, just Erica Mena whole again. The city outside shimmered as she stepped into her car. She looked up at the stars bright, scattered, stubbornly alive and whispered, "Thank you." And for the first time in her life, the world didn't feel like a stage. It felt like home. Summer crept in quietly, the kind of slow heat that melted into the evenings and made the whole city hum. Erica started waking early again, before the noise of the world began. She would sit on her balcony with coffee, watching the sky turn from gray to gold. The same view that once made her feel trapped, now filling her with calm. Her days no longer revolved around fear, interviews, or scandal. They revolved around stillness, something she had never known how to hold before. Her foundation grew faster than she expected. Messages poured in from women who had seen the documentary or followed her story. Some wanted advice, others just wanted to be heard. She answered every one she could, writing late into the night, often barefoot on the couch with her laptop balanced on her knees. The words came easy. Now she didn't need to defend herself anymore. She was just speaking, and people listened. One afternoon, while leaving a meeting downtown, she ran into someone she hadn't seen in years. Mona Scott-Young, the woman who had once directed the chaos of her life, now stood before her, smiling warmly. "Look at you," Mona said. "I always knew you'd turn the noise into something real." Erica laughed softly. "Back then, I didn't even know what real was." Mona tilted her head. "You found it though. And you did it your way." Later, as Erica drove home, she thought about that, doing it her way. The show had made her famous, but the truth had made her whole. Fame had been a mirror, but honesty was a door. She had finally stepped through it. That evening, she met Aisha at a small rooftop restaurant overlooking the city. Candles flickered between them, the sky streaked with lavender and orange. "You seem lighter," Aisha said, smiling. "I don't remember the last time I saw you like this." Erica took a sip of her drink. "I stopped waiting for apologies that'll never come." Aisha raised her glass. To that, they clinked glasses, laughter spilling into the warm air. As night deepened, the conversation drifted to love. Aisha teased, "So what about that producer from New York? He's been calling you." Erica rolled her eyes. "He's sweet, but I'm not there yet." "Maybe you're scared," Aisha said gently. "No," Erica replied, smiling faintly. "I'm just not chasing anything that costs my peace." The following week, she was invited to speak at a film festival in Miami, the same city where her story had begun. She hesitated before accepting, the name alone tugging at memories she'd tried to bury. But part of her knew she had to go back, not for closure, but to reclaim the place that once symbolized her silence. When she arrived, Miami felt different. Not smaller, not kinder, but manageable. The same streets that had once felt like traps now just looked like streets. Her speech was held in a packed hall overlooking the ocean. When she stepped onto the stage, the audience rose in applause. She smiled, waiting for quiet, then said, "This city once held my biggest secret. Now it holds my loudest truth." The crowd listened as she spoke about power, healing, and the strange mercy of starting over. Afterward, a woman approached her backstage with tears in her eyes. "You saved me," she said softly. "I was scared to tell my story. Then I saw you." Erica hugged her tightly, whispering, "Don't be scared anymore." That night, she walked along the beach alone. The waves moved gently, the air thick with salt and memory. She thought about Raiko Knott, with anger or pain this time, but with acceptance. They were two people who had broken each other trying to hide. She whispered into the wind, "I forgive you." And somehow, she felt the weight leave her chest. Back at her hotel, she stood on the balcony watching lightning flash far off the coast. Her phone buzzed with messengers, friends, fans, congratulations, but she didn't open any of them. Instead, she took a photo of the horizon and posted it with a simple caption, "Freedom looks good on me." The post exploded within hours, but she didn't care about the numbers anymore. She turned off her phone, lay on the bed, and listened to the sound of waves brushing against the shore. By morning, her inbox was flooded again, producers offering her a deal to write a memoir. She thought about it all day before replying, "Yes, but only if I can write it myself." Months later, the book titled The Silence Between Us hit the shelves. The cover was simple, her face half in shadow, half in light. It became an instant bestseller. Readers said her words felt like confession and healing in equal measure. Critics called it raw, necessary, unforgettable. One night, during a signing event in New York, she looked up from the table and saw her mother in the crowd, tears in her eyes. After the line ended, her mother came forward and held her tightly. "I used to worry you'd lose yourself," she said, "but you found something better." Erica smiled softly. "Yeah, I found me." When she returned home to Atlanta, the city greeted her like an old friend. She walked through her condo, walls filled with framed photos not of red carpets or awards, but of her son, her friends, her quiet moments. Life wasn't loud anymore. It was steady, like a heartbeat she could finally hear. One evening, as twilight settled over the skyline, she stood by the window holding a cup of tea. Her reflection looked back at her, older, stronger, unafraid. She whispered, "You made it, girl." Outside, the wind picked up, scattering the last of the summer heat. The city pulsed beneath her olive, unpredictable, beautiful. Erica Mena smiled, turned off the lights, and let the night fold around her like peace finally earned. Autumn came slow, with softer mornings and cooler nights. The buzz of summer faded into something quieter, something that felt like balance. Erica had finished the tour for The Silence Between Us, and was home again in Atlanta. Her days filled with peace instead of pressure. The foundation ran itself now, strong, funded, and respected. Her name no longer lived in the chaos of gossip. It lived in stories of strength, in classrooms, in conversations about resilience. One afternoon, she was invited to speak at a private roundtable with other women in the industry. The setting was simpler, long oak table, warm light, no cameras. Across from her sat actresses, singers, executives, all with the same exhaustion in their eyes, all carrying their own quiet wars. "The truth isn't pretty," Erica told them, "but once you tell it, no one can use it against you again." The room fell silent. One woman whispered, "I wish I'd learned that sooner." Erica smiled gently. "We all learn it when we're supposed to." Afterward, one of the younger producers approached her privately. "I read your book," she said. "It made me quit my job. I couldn't keep working under someone who made me hide." Erica felt tears rise but held them back, nodding. "Then you already won." That night, back in her apartment, she stood by the window watching the city lights ripple in the glass. Her son was asleep down the hall. She had promised herself she would never bring chaos back into their home. And for the first time, she'd kept that promise. Her phone buzzed with a message from a journalist asking for comment on a rumor that Rico had been moved from his facility after cooperating in a larger investigation. She read the message twice, then deleted it. She didn't need to know more. His story was no longer hers to carry. The next morning, she met Aisha for breakfast. "You look peaceful," Aisha said, stirring her coffee. "I am," Erica replied. "It's weird, right? No drama, no cameras, just quiet." Aisha laughed. "The calm looks good on you." Erica grinned. "I think I've earned it." As they ate, a young reporter approached their table nervously. "Ms. Mena, sorry to bother you," she said. "I'm writing a feature about women who rebuilt their lives after public breakdowns. Could I quote you?" Erica looked at her kindly. "Sure, but don't call it a breakdown. Call it a rebirth." Later that week, she traveled to New York for a charity gala. The ballroom shimmered under golden chandeliers, cameras flashing, people laughing. The same kind of setting that once made her feel small, but now, she walked in steady, composed, unbothered. Halfway through the evening, a familiar figure approached Safari again, dressed sharp, smiling politely. "It's good to see you doing this," he said. "You look happy." She smiled back. "I am you." He shrugged. "Getting there." For a brief second, the air between them felt like old times, not painful, not longing, just recognition. When the night ended, she stepped outside into the cool air, heels clicking on marble. The wind carried the faint sound of music from inside. She paused on the steps, closed her eyes, and let it wash over her. Peace, she realized, wasn't quiet, it was the sound of nothing to hide. In the months that followed, she began writing again, not about scandal, but about healing, short essays, reflections, small truths. Her publisher suggested another book, maybe fiction this time. Use everything you've lived, they said. She thought about it for a while before replying. Maybe, but I don't want to write pain anymore. I want to write light. On the first anniversary of the documentary, the network aired a tribute special, replaying her most powerful line, "They can try to erase me, but the truth doesn't vanish." Fans flooded her page with messages, tagging her in posts, thanking her for her voice. She replied to a few, then turned off her notifications, choosing to spend the night on her balcony with a blanket and a cup of wine. The air smelled like rain and jasmine. The city pulsed below, alive but distant, and she smiled to herself. The next morning, she woke early to a call from her manager. "We got a new offer," she said. "A docu-serizer story, but from your perspective this time. Full control. Your terms." Erica paused, letting the words settle. "My terms." Completely. She thought about it all day, pacing her living room, the ghosts of her past swirling quietly around her. Then she picked up her phone and called back. "Tell them yes," she said, "but it won't be about the scandal. It'll be about what comes after." Months later, production began. The cameras followed her not for drama, but for truth. They filmed her mentoring young women, visiting schools, sitting in therapy, cooking dinner with her son. When the series finally aired, it wasn't a spectacle. It was raw, slow, human. Audiences called it healing television. Critics called it her redemption arc. But Erica just called it life. One evening, near the end of filming, she stood with the crew on the same rooftop where she had once promised herself she'd never hide again. The city glowed beneath her, alive and endless. "We done?" she asked the director. "We're done," he said. She smiled, pulling off her mic. "Good, now I can really start living." As the crew packed up, she stayed a moment longer, watching the horizon fade into night. She whispered, "It's over." But it didn't sound like an ending. It sounded like a beginning. And somewhere deep in the quiet, with the city breathing below her and her own heart steady for once, Erica Mena finally let go of the story that had once defined her and stepped fully into the life she had fought to build. Winter came gently that year, the kind of season that didn't demand much, just warmth, patience, and stillness. Atlanta slowed down under a soft gray sky, and so did Erica. She no longer woke up to chaos. Her mornings began with the steady rhythm of her own breathing, her son's laughter echoing down the hall, and sunlight spilling across her white kitchen tiles. It was peace, not dramatic or loud, but simple, the kind that used to feel impossible. The new docuseries had become a quiet success. People loved it not for scandal, but for its honesty. It wasn't a comeback, it was a continuation. Clips of her reading letters from fans went viral, not because of shock, but because she looked calm, grounded, real. In one scene, she said softly, "Healing isn't fame. Healing is freedom." The words took on a life of their own, printed on shirts, quoted in posts, spoken by people who had never even watched Love and Hip Hop. One morning, as she scrolled through her messages, a new email caught her attention. The sender's name was unfamiliar. "Dear Erica, I'm writing from a shelter in Detroit. I watched your story. I thought I'd never tell mine, but now I'm ready. Thank you." She read it twice, then sat in silence, hands trembling. It wasn't about the show anymore. It was about connection. She replied simply, "You're already brave." As months passed, her life settled into something soft and steady. She began painting again, something she hadn't done since her teens. Canvases leaned against every wall, splashes of red, gold, ocean, blue. She said they were pieces of emotion she couldn't put into words. Sometimes, she sold them for charity. Other times, she kept them, reminders that beauty could come from brokenness. Aisha visited often, still teasing her about love. "So, anyone new?" she'd asked, stirring sugar into her coffee. Erica would laugh, shaking her head. "No, I think I'm finally in love with quiet." "That's not a person," Aisha said, smirking. Erica smiled. "It's better than most, but love has its own timing." One night, after speaking at a charity event, she met someone, a filmmaker named Daniel. He wasn't flashy, not famous, just thoughtful. They talked about storytelling, about truth, about how people mistake survival for strength. He didn't ask about Rico or the show. He asked what made her happy now. She liked that. Over the following months, he became a quiet constant, never pressing, never crowding, just there. One evening, as they walked through Piedmont Park, he asked, "Does it ever feel strange being remembered for something you've outgrown?" She thought about it for a moment. "It used to," she said, "but now I see it as proof. I didn't stay the same. I learned." He smiled. "Then that's what people should remember." Spring came with new beginnings. Her foundation opened a second branch in Los Angeles. Her son got accepted into a top school. Her mother visited more often, bringing home-cooked meals and stories that filled the apartment with warmth. And for the first time in years, Erica started planning not for survival, not for control, but for joy. On the one-year anniversary of the docuseries, she hosted a small dinner at her home. Friends, colleagues, family, they filled the space with laughter, clinking glasses, and music. Rashida raised a toast to Erica for showing all of us what strength looks like when it stops being loud. The room erupted in applause. Erica blushed, laughing. "Y'all are gonna make me cry." Later, after everyone left, she stood on the balcony again. The city stretched below her, the same skyline that had witnessed every version of her. She whispered, "Thank you, not to anyone specific, but to life itself for the chaos, the lessons, the rebirth." Her phone buzzed. A notification from her publisher. "Your second book has hit #1. She smiled softly. This one wasn't a memoir. It was fiction stories about women who fall, rise, love, and forgive. But anyone who read it could feel her in every line. Before going to bed, she scrolled through old photos one last time. Not to mourn, not to relive, but to remind herself how far she'd come. One image caught her Aja, still from her first love in hip-hop season. Her younger self, fierce, loud, unguarded. She smiled at the screen. "You were trying so hard to be heard," she whispered. "You finally are." As she turned off the lights, the city's hum faded into a lullaby. No headlines, no fear, no ghosts, just Erica Mena, a woman who had turned pain into purpose, and silence into peace. And somewhere deep in the quiet, as the night wrapped around her like safety, she finally understood that surviving was never the end of her story. It was only the beginning of the life she was always meant to live. You've seen the headlines, you've watched the tears, you've felt every heartbeat of Erica's truth, and now it's your turn to decide what it all means. Because stories like this don't just end, they echo. They echo in every person who's ever been silenced, in every woman who's ever been told to stay quiet, in every dream that was buried under fear. What Erica gave the world wasn't gossip, it was a mirror. And if you're still here, listening, then that mirror is for you too. Ask yourself, how many times have you kept a truth hidden because you were scared of what people might say? How many times have you played small because the world convinced you that your voice was too loud, too emotional, too much? Erica's journey reminds you that there's power in standing up, even when your knees are shaking. That courage isn't about never being afraid. It's about speaking anyway. So before you scroll away, pause, breathe. Feel that weight you've been carrying. The one that keeps you from saying what's real. Now imagine setting it down. Imagine living the way Erica finally learned to live, without apology, without permission, without fear. That's not just her story. That could be yours. This video isn't just a moment in entertainment, it's a message. A reminder that no matter how dark it gets, no matter how many people try to rewrite your truth, your story still belongs to you. Nobody can own your voice but you. Nobody can silence what's already burning inside you. And if you've been following this story from the beginning, you know how far she's come, from headlines and heartbreak to healing and freedom. It's not just a comeback, it's a declaration. It's proof that truth can rebuild what lies once destroyed. It's proof that sometimes, losing everything is what finally sets you free. So if this journey moved you, if it made you think, if it made you remember that you have a voice too, then don't just watch, be part of it. Hit that like button, drop a comment below, and tell us what part of Erica's story hit you the hardest. Was it the courage to speak out when no one believed her? The strength to rebuild after the world turned its back? Or the peace she found after walking through fire? We want to hear from you. And don't forget to subscribe, because this channel isn't just about drama, it's about truth. It's about the stories behind the stories, the emotions behind the headlines, the lessons that come after the chaos. Every week, we bring you the untold sides of the people you think you know, their secrets, their struggles, their humanity. Because behind every viral moment, there's a heartbeat, and we're here to find it. When you subscribe, you're not just joining an audience, you're joining a community, a place where real conversations happen, where honesty isn't punished, and where we remind each other that pain can be powerful when it's shared. So here's your call to action. Use your voice. Comment your truth below. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Maybe it's a friend who's hiding behind a smile, Maybe it's someone who's been told they're too broken to be heard. Send it to them. Tell them they're not alone. Because if Erica taught us anything, it's that silence only wins when we stop speaking. And if you're new here, welcome to the family. We're just getting started. We've got more exclusives, more interviews, more stories that dig beneath the surface of fame, love, betrayal, and redemption. The kind of stories that remind you that no matter how messy life gets, there's always a way back to peace. Click the bell icon, too, so you don't miss what comes next. Because if you thought this was the end, trust me, it's not. Every ending is just a new chapter waiting to be written. And we've got plenty more to uncover. Before we go, let's leave you with one last thought. Truth doesn't always roar at whispers. Sometimes it hides behind fear, behind pride, behind pain. But it never disappears. It waits for the right moment, the right breath, the right voice to bring it back to life. And when it does, the world listens. So don't wait for permission to tell your truth. Start now. Look at Erica Mena, once defined by scandal, now defined by strength. Once silenced, now amplified. Once lost, now found. She didn't need a perfect ending. She just needed to stop pretending her pain didn't matter. And neither do you. So as this video ends, don't just scroll past it. Sit with it. Think about the things you've hidden, the truths you've swallowed, the dreams you've shelved because someone told you they weren't possible. Then ask yourself, what if you stopped hiding? What if you let the world see the real you? Unfiltered, unedited, unafraid. If you're ready for that, you're in the right place. Because this channel isn't just about Erica's story, it's about all of us learning to tell ours. So hit like, hit subscribe, turn on those notifications, and most importantly, drop your truth in the comments. This isn't goodbye, it's the beginning of something bigger. And remember, no matter where you are right now, no matter what you've been through, your story still matters, your voice still matters, and your truth, no matter how complicated, no matter how messy, is still yours to tell. So tell it loud, tell it fearless, and keep watching, because this isn't just entertainment, it's evolution. This is the story of Erica Mena, and maybe, just maybe, it's the story of you too.